Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new show. See this man here? He's my very special guest, which we're going to get to in just a moment. But I want to welcome you to the show. Nothing like a good book. That's what it's called. And it's really all about this when you look at it, discovering your book. And it doesn't matter, what genre. Doesn't matter if it's fiction. Doesn't matter if it's nonfiction. Memoir, autobiography, whatever you're doing. Maybe a book of poems. I'd like to promote your book for you, and the end objective is to help you sell your book. And there's a joke we have, get them out of the garage. All right, so it's dedicated to authors. Nothing like a good book, and it's absolutely great to have you. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my very special guest today, and his name is Dr. Sam Morhaim. G'day, Sam. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome. Most welcome. And you've got a heartwarming story to talk about today. And I'm glad you're on the show because I think it's got a very good message to give. With a lot of stuff that's going on in America at the moment, I think it's very poignant. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sam Rodriguez Morhaim, you might have picked it up in the accent. He's a proud Brooklyn native from the small neighborhood of Canarsie. Is that correct?
Canarsie, Brooklyn. Canarsie, USA.
There you go, Canarsie, USA, where he grew up alongside his parents, Julio and Victoria, and his brother, Jimmy. Okay, so now, Dr. Morhaim, Samuel, what would you like, Doctor or Samuel or Sam?
Sam is great.
All right, you've got it. Now, Jimmy, your brother, whom you love very much, he was the real-life inspiration behind this book, and it's called Where Are All My Toys, right? We're going to be going into that pretty deeply. But at the end of the day, your strong sense of family began with your parents' determination. I'd like to bring them up because we talked about this a little earlier. This is a lovely family shot. That looks like an open window and you're in Venice or something, but it's not. It's a picture, right?
Yes. It's actually taken in Miami.
In Miami, okay. And I think your dad is the one in the green shirt? No.
Actually, unfortunately, my dad passed away in 1983. So he's the only one pretty much missing from the picture other than myself because I'm the one taking that picture.
Okay. Well, you have a strong sense of family, but it began, here's your mom though, right down the end, leaning over. Hi, Mom.
All the way at the end there, on the left side.
They were determined apparently to give the kids a normal, safe life, which led them to leave their beloved homeland of Cuba.
Yes.
Cuba?
Yes.
This is when Jimmy was very young, right? When your brother was very young. That's your brother there in the green shirt.
That's him on the right side in the green shirt. And
that's Jimmy,
right? Departed Cuba when he was 5 years old.
5 years of age when you're uplifting or uprooting from your home. Well, do you know a lot at 5 or you don't know a lot at 5? I mean, you don't know.
No, I mean, what he remembers from being 5 years old is that he was growing up in a happy household, seemed to be very content with his life. And in the book, I address the fact that there's a birthday. The only thing that's not true in the book, because it is based on truth, is that the birthday was really the Day of the Three Kings, which is a special day in Latin America where kids are showered with gifts. And instead of getting into something like that was a little bit more political, I kept it simple and said it was his birthday. But it was a significant event because it was a happy moment. Everything was going great in his life. And then he gets woken up in the middle of the night and his life changed forever.
There you go. Well, you do share that it was their dedication, mom and dad, to the education that you guys should have that shaped you and your brother's futures, because they came over. He was only 5, but you were born and raised in the States.
That's right. I came in 1964. They left in 1962.
Well, that seems like so many years ago, doesn't it? Was that wasn't the
Cuban Missile
missile
Crisis.
thing wasn't that on then?
Yeah, it's around then when that happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
during the Bay of Pigs. The
Right.
failed attempt to take over the regime, and Kennedy was the president at the time,
Yeah.
and it was a nightmare for a lot of people. But they
Would have been.
managed to escape that regime. When Castro first came into power, my mother would explain that he was actually very well liked. He overthrew Batista, and like most areas that create a communist regime, rather, it sounds like a great idea. This idea of socialism or communism, which is what I really like to call it, because that's really what it is.
That's what it is. Whichever way you look at it, it's communism. Yeah.
It's government control. And my dad, I think the thing that tipped him was that the children were being forced into the military and would have to march through the streets and carry guns. And he said, that's it. I'm not going to allow my son to be subjected to that. I have a choice, but I don't want him to be forced into that situation. And that's, along with a lot of other events, that's what created their departure, in haste.
Now, all of this focuses to do, by the way, with the book, as you'll understand as we get into it, because it's all about a little guy who's ripped up in the middle of the night and taken away from home, all his choice, everything he loves, everything he knows, to brand new strange. So what would it be like for your kid if that happened? I don't like that word, kid, it's a goat, your child. Let me get on with this. You excelled academically and became a periodontist, because we talked about education before. And Jimmy, or Jimmy as he's known, he became a dermatologist.
Correct.
So all thanks to the education. That's great. Now, beyond your professional life, you are a devoted father, because I've got this picture up to two young fellas, Alexander and Daniel, and they both reside in Florida. Hi, Alex. Hi, Daniel. On the left here now, next to this beautiful-looking blonde lady, who's this one?
That's Alex.
That's Alex. Hi, Alex. And over here on the right, with the check shirt,
that's
Daniel. Hi, Daniel. How you doing?
He likes to be known as Dan. They always shorten their names for some reason. I did the same thing because I was actually named after my grandfather, who was Samuel, and I call myself Sam.
You have two granddaughters as well, Vanessa and Haley, and you preface the commitment to family is what keeps you grounded. I mean, you're a successful businessman, a mental effort and strain, periodontist, because you're a very good professional from what I hear. You specialize in what you do, and you don't allow mistakes. And put that together with the family value situation to write a book and become an author. Okay, now the connection starts to happen. How does all this actually, work for you? The family, resilience, education, the desire to help others. That's what I got out of this when I read it, the desire to want to help others. Is that right?
I think you hit it right on the nose. I would oftentimes get into conversations with patients in the office about my background. And what would come from that is interesting conversations that I merely had with my parents, mostly with my mother, because my father's no longer around. I was 18 at the time when he died of pancreatic cancer. And what I found was that people were really fascinated by the whole story. And we start to reach commonalities with some of the other people. I've talked to other Cuban families, and they've had similar situations. And I said, what a good idea would it be to get this on paper? And I said, maybe a children's book, because then I could put it in a way that can be relatable to children. And the parents would have to be involved because they would have to read the story to the children. And then one day the child who's getting read the book would start to realize the importance of what I was writing, but on a benign way. I didn't want to get too intense, obviously, because it still has to be a children's book.
Yeah.
And that's what really stimulated me to write this.
That's a very clever idea, really, when you think about it. And it's different, something for folks to look at buying, and particularly those who may be in a similar situation or facing a potential situation, immigration, leaving their country, going somewhere else. Positive, you might be leaving America, going to Europe, for all you know, for a job transfer, and you've got to take your little one. This is where I recommend this book to you. So really inferring that Jimmy was saved through his artistic talent and able to express himself through art, even though he couldn't speak the English language. Okay, what do you mean by that?
So my parents found out early on that Jimmy had an extraordinary talent to be able to draw. And when he got to the States, a lot of things happened that were really stressful for him. Namely, he was in a foreign land where he couldn't speak the language, then thrust into a school situation where there were children who he couldn't communicate with.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. The teacher reached out to my mother and said, listen, I just want to let you know what's going on here. And, but I noticed that he kind of goes into a corner and starts to draw, and he has an incredible talent. And my mother said, yes. She said, let me explore that a little bit, if you don't mind. And it turned out to be his saving grace, because he was able to then channel his feelings through art. And when he did that, the teacher had a brilliant idea to make him an ambassador to that classroom. And then she started to promote the art in the classroom, and then he felt important. And he didn't have to speak that much at all. He would just share his feelings through art. And then he became literally the ambassador of the class. And then over time, other students who would emigrate from other countries were now involved in this. And now he didn't feel so alone.
Isn't that fantastic? What a lovely story. And, mainly authors watch this show, but a lot of people, different people do, as a matter of fact, according to the emails. But what I'm getting at is that would speak for a lot of artists.
Yes.
Wouldn't it? For a lot of people who want to express, but do it through art,
He still does it.
Yeah.
He still does it. He's retired now, and he converted his garage into an art studio. Right. And he's extremely talented and constantly exploring different types of art. He's basically involved in mixed media on canvas now, and it's really fascinating and incredible to see what he can create.
Plus, on top of that, he's a dermatologist. Or is he retired now?
He's a retired dermatologist. But I'll tell you, there was a significant event that occurred that comes later in another book that I wrote, because this is part of a trilogy.
I want to make sure that we get this out. This is what we're talking about. Where are all my toys? All right. Now, in reference to what we've covered already, share this first book. Give us this first book first, if you would, Sam, because there is a trilogy involved. Okay.
So the title of the 3 books is Where Are All My Toys, because it's based on a trilogy. But this particular book, the subtitle is My Journey from Cuba to America. So it basically is the start of the story of my brother being uplifted and having to go from Cuba to America quickly to escape the communist regime of Cuba. Right. And then settling into Brooklyn. Several things happen. I don't want to spoil certain things inside the book, but then I'm born, and the next book picks up from that point on.
Okay, with book 1 and Where Are All My Toys, what were you trying to get out? What was the essence of the message, really, when you were writing it?
The message is that you're not alone if you're a child who experienced something similar to this, and there is hope and light at the end of the tunnel, that you will find something within yourself, some kind of inner strength, some talent. In the case of my brother, it happened to be art, and also family foundation and strength through family and guidance, which will get you through whatever obstacles you come across.
So, Sam, let me ask you then, why is it so important, do you think, for children to read this particular book, and for that matter, for their parents to read it to them? That's a critical part.
Because it's reality. And I think that a lot of children may be internalizing some of the things that happened to them. Think about the fact that my brother had to leave and didn't understand what was going on. And my parents couldn't really concentrate on his feelings so much because they were just trying to get their acts together. And they had their fears of the unknown. We did have some family members here already, but my parents were struggling with the language, struggling with having to get jobs. And the other message is the importance of education. The reason that my parents were able to do it so quickly was because both of them were professionals. They were not in business, they were professionals. And that's something that they always ingrained in our heads, that education is important because no matter what happens politically, they can't take that away from you.
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay.
For over 50 years, Daniel Roth has lived for that moment. A two-time Grammy Award winner, former publisher at Simon & Schuster, and executive at HarperCollins, he's helped countless writers turn ideas into art, whether it's a novel, a screenplay, or a documentary. Daniel brings the experience of Hollywood and publishing together, helping creators find the story that truly connects. Now he's showing that passion, teaching, guiding, and inspiring writers of all ages to make.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Roth. I'm an editor. I can help you find your story. Give me a call.
Let's have a look at book 2 of the trilogy. This is quite involved. Look at it burning. It reminds me when I was a kid in my little billy cart, we called them in Australia. You know, little ball-bearing wheels and a vegetable box you'd grab from the you'd grab from the fruiterer, you know what I mean?
Well, that's exactly what I want to happen when somebody looks at that, because those go-karts that we called them go-karts, we made them from scratch. And that just happened to be one of the things that I remember about growing up in Brooklyn. It was a simple life, and it picks up from the first book. And now I'm thrust into a situation where I have to move to a neighborhood where I don't know anyone. And it starts off with me moving into the neighborhood and then meeting new friends. And then what happens from that point on is just such an incredible story of simple life upbringing. And it's a microcosm of society because you don't really need much to be happy and to feel safe.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah. And this is his, folks, this is Sam's personal website, whereareallmytoys.org. Not to be confused with this one. This is where the books can be actually bought direct through Amazon. That's this particular link. You know, you usually get that DP / then a number. So that's to buy the thing. Lovely gift for somebody coming up. Or this is to read about Sam and the books and a little bit more, get to know him a little bit more, okay? I'll leave it up for a second. Okay, and the third book of the trilogy, which is this one, right? It's not out yet, but it's on the way, correct?
Yes, it's on its way. It should be out within the next 4 weeks. That's the final book in the trilogy, and it basically outlines what happens from childhood to adulthood between me, my brother, and my family. And what's important to understand here, because the subtitle of this book is Finding Your Silver Lining, or Finding in Search of Your Silver Lining, something to that effect.
Well, I notice on the back then there is the rainbow. So there's the actor. What are the buildings behind you? They look very, businesslike.
Yeah, so that's Columbia University.
Right.
And I believe the other building is something from Cuba, maybe the University of Havana. I forget. be honest with you. But the idea behind it is, you see my brother on the right, he's a physician. I'm the little guy, and my father on the left, he's holding architectural plans, and my mother has a badge because she's a teacher, a guidance counselor.
Good on.
And it's about all the opportunities that you get in the United States, and how those opportunities lead you to a positive outcome in your life.
Well, it's up to yourself, I know. It is interesting because in reality, I grew up as a kid in an island continent, more people in Texas than there are in Australia. But a lot of Americans and Canadians down there, they love it. They won't come back. But it's like my boomerang. It won't come back. That's an old song. But the point is, it's a lot uplifting, and leaving a country, starting fresh. You feel so out, they don't understand you sometimes when you talk, and you got to explain a lot of things. And there's a lot to it. There's an awful lot to it, leaving and being an immigrant. But then there's the stress of why you're here and why you're not and when you come. But as a kid, I grew up admiring America, always believing it was the end all and the be all. What a chance to maybe work there one day, because we'd all have dreams as a kid, don't we? You want to be a fire engine driver, a policeman, or something else. At my early stage, I wanted to be an actor, so that meant waiting tables in LA somewhere, but that was very early in the game, till I realized that, maybe media might have been a more secure career. Anyway, so I can relate to it, but it's absolutely lovely. Now, that's coming out in 3 to 4 weeks. That's the trilogy. And now what I want to show is this, because there's so many things, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to direct purchase, this is what I was showing here before. Is that the number 177? Here we go. All right. These are the connections, because you can go to his Facebook page, the guest Twitter. Look at all the social media. Facebook.com, X.com, author Sam R. What's it sound like when you introduced as an author, Sam?
It's surreal, because I always had an interest in writing. I happened to be class writer in high school, and then I later wrote for the school newspaper in college. I was the editor-in-chief of both the high school and college newspapers. So I always had the feeling of being some type of writer, but more so as a hobby. And I just thought it would be a good idea to get some important things out about my own family, because the story started evolving. And retrospectively, I said to myself, it wasn't perfect. Things happened during your lives, even when we settled in America. But again, you had the feeling that somehow you were going to get through it because of the different political situation and the family background.
Those days, that they say that was the plum of America. That's the movies I used to watch, the TV series. We were flooded with American stuff. I can go back to the
Exactly.
The Rifleman, and I could go all day. But the point is, as well, But that America was kind and simple and gentle, and work hard. There's the picket fence. There's your goals. Nothing's going to erupt. If you do what you're supposed to do and put your heart into it, you got a chance of making it.
Regardless of the obstacles that you faced, you kind of felt like you were going to get through it.
Yeah. A lot of people wish it was back then. You know that right now.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, Sam, what are you hoping for out of this? Do you want a movie deal or something? What do you want with the trilogy, to be honest with you?
I want to reach a lot of people. And whether that means selling a lot of books for the purpose of getting the point across, that's fine. And there has been some activity back in 2020 when I originally published the book, because I then republished it in 2025. Right. That was then COVID hit. So I had all these book signings. Long Island Newsday picked up the story and did a 3-page spread on the
Right.
story. So people are interested in this. It's just about getting the word out. And yeah, of course, who doesn't want a Netflix series? I mean, that would be amazing. And I would have so much more to talk about. And of course, that wouldn't be on a children's level. It would be on an adult level.
Had a couple of authors, one in particular, Kevin Shuey, massive awards overseas for the writing and for the screenplays. And he's had a lot of interest out of Hollywood with reference to a whole series, a beautiful Bad Love Tigers. And, that could come up. So you never know. You never know. I mean, it's America.
That's right.
Have you left it, when you touched on it, just shortly, briefly tell me, have you left any details out of the books?
I left a lot of details because, again, I wanted to keep it light, so to speak, on a children's level. And there were a lot of instances that I can talk about that happened to family members, including my father, that I left out. And, that's for a movie or a series.
Fair enough. So it can be bought now.
Yes.
Okay. This particular site I'm showing now. If someone's watching and you'd like to get hold of this thing and just want to buy it, this will take you straight to Amazon. That's what this link is, okay?
I want the parents to know one thing. This is a serious book, but there's always a happy ending.
Well, that's good.
It's the type of thing that it stimulates conversation between parents and children.
Yeah, I wish there was more of that today instead of stuck in the phone jazz, you know what I mean?
So that's another goal of mine, to get conversations started.
My word. So, folks, that's the buy list. And this one here, but I recommend you do this. You read all about him. And that's his private site, okay? You can go to that one. So while we're on that, in closing, really, Sam, I'd like to ask, in fact, I always ask my author guests, what advice could you offer to any up-and-coming author?
To an author who's thinking about writing a book?
Yeah, to any up-and-coming author, period.
Any up-and-coming author?
Whether it's cartoons, whether it's a serious novel, whatever the heck it is.
I will tell you that the most important thing is carry a little pad with yourself, and when you have an idea, jot it down. Don't just let it go, no matter what it is, because when you look back on it, it'll start to make sense.
Well, that's good advice. That's good advice, because I think writers tend to think that, okay, it's my writing time. I'm blocking off today. In I go, and you got a blank page.
It did actually happen that way for me.
Yeah, did
with
it?
the first book. I sat down in a Starbucks and cranked it out, and it just flowed off my tongue. But I reflected on instances that I wrote little sentences down that had something to do with the first book, and I integrated those ideas.
Right. So we got that one and we got that one. That's good. My guest has been Sam. You said Starbucks sitting there. You're one of the reasons why I don't go there anymore.
Well, here's an interesting fact.
And students
Howard Schultz,
never get a chair.
Howard Schultz, the guy who started Starbucks, went to high school with my brother.
Really?
He went to Canarsie High School.
Canarsie, right. Well, there you go. See, you never know. Never know you're like in a big city, right? I've been to the Big Apple once. It was too short. And I was there, I think, about the week after 9/11. And I haven't been back since to see all the new stuff. I'd love to go back soon and have a good look. And I'd like to do something else around the park, in the horse with the carriage. And there's a lot of stuff in New York.
It's a wonderful thing to do. It's a 6-mile walk if you decide to do it on foot.
I'll keep that in mind, Sam. Absolutely fabulous. Thanks for being on the show. I wish you
thank you for having me.
all the luck in the world with the books.
I appreciate that.
They're on Amazon. They're everywhere. It's going to be the whole bit. So all I could say is seriously, good luck. And I wish you all the best in the world. Now, when I take you off, stay there, will you, just for 60 seconds? Make sure that you get all of it all. I'll catch you up again. Thank you. Just a sec. All right. So there we have it, folks. And where am I? Come back here. Come back. Thank you. Interesting fellow, fabulous books. And the trilogy, but very different for your child, for your little ones. But you read it to them, right? And then maybe when they get a little bit older, they read it for themselves. But it's good messaging in there. At this time, where America is, it reminds us of a few things. And I'd like to remind you that I'd really appreciate, what am I going to say to you again? Oh, if you enjoy the show, please rate us in the podcast app. That's right. It helps more people to find us, which in turn will help more authors and for you to find them. And of course, right here on YouTube, subscribe and support for more up-and-coming authors. There you go. I tend to forget to promote myself a little bit, but I do appreciate getting the emails, mark at nlgb.info, because the site's up now. You might even win something. There's a lovely little promotion in there. Nothinglikeagoodbook.com. All right? www.nothinglikeagoodbook.com. It's open. Have a look at it all the authors we've interviewed, more to come. And there's an opportunity there for you to even win a terrific interview yourself if you'd like one, if you've got something you'd like to promote. As I said, fiction, nonfiction, paperback, novel, doesn't matter, hardcover. It's your baby. It's from the heart. You wrote it. Discover your book, promote your book, and let's help you sell your book. Okay? So tell people about it. I'd appreciate it. Nothing like a good book. And I'll see you soon.